I'm here. How's it going? How is your Friday? It's the freaking weekend. Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Is the mic working? The mic is working. Should I turn the gain down a little bit so I'm not quite as loud? Is the music alright, or is that too loud? Should we turn that down? You don't want to see the mess I'm in with my desk at the moment. So we did some streams, and then we found out there was a load of buzzing in the background, and that was something to do with the power going into how my desk works. So I have like some power strips underneath, and there's like two big power strips, and because I don't know how, but because one thing is plugged into one power strip and one's plugged into another, that causes like interference or something. So I've sorted it out, and the interference is gone, almost, but I've still got to go under there and fix all the cables. But because of that, we're not actually sitting next to the wall, which I can I can show you. So we're like, it's kind of hard to show. Yeah, like, the wall is over there. So, it's kind of weird. I made a mess of this. Right, there we go. Spin you around. I always do this. Take the ball joint off. And I can't tighten it back up. What have I done there? Oh. So how are we all doing? Who's in? Any regulars in here? And what are your plans for the weekend? Oh, there we go. I've kind of fixed it. This is such a fiddly little setup, this overhead cam thing. There we go, that kind of works. No one chatting today. No one saying hello. Just came for the code. Cool. Well, I can show you what we're going to do. So, I will open a Chrome tab. Bring you in. So I saw this effect the other day, and the wave thing is quite popular. And I've just not got around to sitting down and making one. And then I was on Starling Bank, and they have this one. And it's actually really easy to make. And I saw it, and I was like, I like the fact that there's different opacities. And then it got me thinking, like, hold up, I could make this in about 10 minutes and solve the problems that I had. I just noticed I've not put my ring back on, which I never seem to put my ring back on. But this is actually really easy to make. And this is kind of what I implore anyone to do that's looking to do front-end dev and never is quite sure how to do things. But you see an effect and you're like, I want to know how to do that. Find the site, go and... How's it going, Leon? It is Leon, right? I think I've seen your name floating around. How are you doing? You having a good day? Welcome. I don't think you've popped up before, and that's probably worth a... What should we go with? Just... Yeah, well, you're more than welcome to pop in. You don't have to stay, but if you do, that's great. And if you don't, have a great weekend. But yeah, what I was saying was, I implore people to just go and... This is like where my curiosity peaks. So, like, this is kind of echoes onto this article that I released this week, which is kind of all about how I do. Oh, we got some comments. Awesome. Oh, brilliant. But this is literally the instruction manual for how I go about learning stuff. I just come up with, that's what I want to make, and I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to make it. And it kind of leans into this. So you see an idea, how do you do it? First thing I would do, just hop straight in the inspector, see what's going on. Now, on first glance, before I actually saw this, I figured it was probably an image or an SVG that was just scaling up and down. And when I inspected it, it kind of confirmed what I thought. So what they're doing here is they have 3 divs. I don't know if you can see that. Pump that up a bit. Try and make it so you can see it. Although then we lose the waves. So we've got to find a happy medium where you should be able to see that. But yeah, we have this logging container piece. And this is just a overflow hidden. Nothing crazy going on. Thank you. We'll give you hands for that. And yeah, all it is just a block with 3 divs inside. Each div is appropriately kind of sized, really big. Bigger than the, or not. It kind of depends. So they're doing it differently to how you could potentially do it. And this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you a different way of doing it. So what they're doing is they're using static images. I don't know if you can copy click. Don't know if you can do, what would it be? Static media wave 1. You can see how they've bundled it. Yeah, how do I grab? There we go, copy link address. Yeah. You can't really see it, but you can kind of see it. So it's all it is just a PNG of a wave. And then all they do is set that to different background sizes. And then give it different heights, a width, and then just repeat it. And then all the transform, so it's just a keyframe to animate it, and all we're doing is just translating Y, because it's just going down. And then all you have to do, I believe, each one potentially is different. So this one's 15 seconds. And that's the first child. Nth of type 2, yeah, 30 seconds. Slightly different opacity. Yep, that makes sense. Slightly different opacity. Bigger duration. And different background size. 80 pixel 50. 80 pixel 50. 60 pixel 50. So just slightly different variations. And just slightly different ways of doing it, really. Background size doesn't actually make much of a difference here, so all it's doing is restricting the width of it, but kind of the height if you were to tip it that way. So if you do that, you'll get a really big wave, but it doesn't affect how big it is. If you did 100 or 1,000, you'll just see it's just scaling to the height. So if you take it up, it'll be really, really wiggly, but they don't really expect anyone to be on that kind of viewport, which is fine. But there's another way you can do this that makes it so you can play with it in your CSS. And that's where I bring you this. So, bit of a Blue Peter moment. Here's one I made earlier. The trick to doing this is Inkscape, if you've not seen Inkscape. I highly recommend getting a copy. It's free. just download it. If you're interested in making SVG, just start dropping shapes on a page. Start playing with it. Now, why I tell people to, or I don't tell people to do it, but why I advocate people trying this out. I'm just going to go back because I don't actually need to make the changes. I've already got this somewhere. But I'm just going to show you how it works. To make a wave in Inkscape, create a rectangle. And this is where something like Inkscape trumps things like Figma. So all you got to do here, turn this rectangle. And this is how SVG works. You have the concept of different sorts of shapes. So you have rectangles, circles, but then everything can be a path. So this is an object currently. It's a rectangle. But if I go to path, I can convert that object into a path. Object to path. Now it's a path. If I use the node select tool, now I can select two nodes and I can add new nodes between them. So now we've got 3, then it's 5, then it's that, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then if I just take each alternating one and, my bad. If I take each alternating one, which I seem to be having, what is going on? Sorry about that, having a nightmare. And just take them down however much I like. So, I don't know, say I was to take it to roughly there, which looks kind of alright. And then I just take all of them nodes. You get all these handy little path tools, and there's one here called auto smoothing. You do that, now you've got your wave pretty much how you wanted it. And you can now take that and manipulate it in the browser. So I've already created this. I've created it as this one. I've already got it saved. So if I come out of here, close without saving. And where did I put it? That's a good question. I have thrown it into... I know where I've thrown it. I've thrown it into Copen. So if I go into Copen and so I've already turned it into a block of HTML here. And now we're going to see if I can manipulate it into something else. Ignore all this for the moment. This was just a hack that I threw together quick. And what do we want to do? We want to go documents, workspace. It's the really interesting part. And I'm going to create a new pen. And how's it going? How's your day? How's your Friday? Are you happy it's the weekend? I am. It's Mandalorian Day. Come on. Alright, now if I open up this one. And cool, I don't know what I've got going on in here. I've got like shader code. Don't know what I've been up to. SVG waves. Alright, all I'm interested in at the moment is this SVG. Game dev. Nice. Only the one steak though. Sounds good. We've got a party in here today as well. It's nice. It's nice to have so many people in. I never know what time's good for people. I need to really get better at scheduling. That is going to be one of my goals when the site's built. Get better at scheduling, because you're freaking terrible at it. So yeah, you can see that in here now. If what do I want? I want the styles and the waves. Yep, that should be good. Then I can take this and put this over here. And now we're all good. So this SVG isn't particularly interesting at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 50% of the viewport so you can actually see it. And I'm going to make it a height of 10 vmin or 10 vh. So that's it. Now it doesn't look like much at the moment, and it won't, which is fine. We're going to do display. We don't really need to do anything magic with the body. We're just going to do min height 100 vh. Yeah, that'll do for now. So our wave is just there. Nothing great. Takes up half the screen. Also not great. Now the trick is I'm going to make a new path inside here, and I'll have to translate it. So now we're going to do a bit of SVG kind of hacking. Create a definition, and obviously this is pug, which might be unfamiliar to some. Essentially this is indent style syntax for HTML. It should be relatively clear, but this is the tag, and then any dots are classes. So if I did like, just to show you, if I did like, I could do div dot box, but because div is used so regularly, a dot box would give me a div with the class box. And I just find it quicker to do these demos for people. You still get the HTML at the end. I can still pump that into CodePen, so it's fine. So here, I'm going to create a path. And I'm actually just going to take this path. And this path is, we're going to call it wave original. And then we're going to create a group here. And this group is going to contain, and this is where I always forget how this works, but I think I can just do that. Yeah, no changes. So that is what I expected to see. Now if I do a second group, but I actually transform this one, and I translate it across, and let's just say it goes across 100 pixels. You won't see anything yet, although wondering if that's worked. Hold up. Shadow root. Doesn't look like the second one has worked. This is always a bit tricky, I always find. Oh. Have I... It's telling me I'm missing something. Attribute transform. This is my fault then. I'm doing something wrong with the SVG. SVG transform. Let's just find out. So yeah, transform. Oh, I've put a comma in and it doesn't need a comma. So there's a little bit of a overlap here, how the SVG works. But if I do, and I don't need the unit, because it's got its own coordinate space. So there you go, you can see it hidden there. Now, this is the cool part. This is the trick that we're not actually going to use, but I'm going to show you it just in case you ever need it. if you take an SVG, and you'd think because the view box cuts it, if you actually do overflow visible on an SVG, you'll actually get the overflow, which is pretty cool. Yeah, not something I was aware of until much later. But you can kind of see where this is going. So if I now did this second one and translate it across the width of our image, and because this is the coordinate space, see how it's tied up perfect? Now it's not ideal because technically this should be actually rounded, so I should really go back and fix the SVG. But if we do that, then stick that overflow visible back on, then create a keyframe where we say translate, and this is where it's kind of weird because it does match up here, so you kind of do this, but there you go, now you've got an infinite wave that will actually scale with the page, and it will never break, which is pretty freaking cool, I think. Yeah, I think it's really cool. Anything is, the only issue we have is obviously that we have that pointy one, which doesn't look great. But this will obviously be a lot slower. If we looked at how they were doing theirs, it was like 45 seconds, so we can just slowly move it along, and it should be fine. It should handle it pretty well. You can obviously play with this a little bit. You can make it like slightly less. No, sorry. You play with it in here, so you can actually translate it across slightly less. But because it's at a viewport unit, you always get caught where it could do a little bit of overlapping. So sometimes a 0.5 will fix it like it has now, but then at certain widths or heights it might distort it. That seems to have handled that pretty well though, which is pretty neat. But yeah, we're not happy with that. So what we're going to do, and this is where it gets tricky, is if I can actually open this on stream. Whenever I open Inkscape on stream, it breaks. So that looks happy. Yes! Never does this. Always causes me issues. Right, so what I can do here. This was 1920, but I split it down. Now, I could just duplicate it, but what will probably make more sense is to create a 19 by 20 version, take the 508 section and then clip it in the middle and get the curves. That sounds crazy, but oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I think I just broke it. Haha. Hey dude, how's it going? But you're here now. That's the main thing. Sorry, I'm messing around trying to get Inkscape to work on my screen. Ah, it's working now. Alright, here we go. I'm not moving it again. We'll have a party mode because you're here. So what I'm going to do... Probably. I'm going to create this so it's... This is quite good actually because you were in the stream with Niall, so you can see the technique I was on about that he didn't see. So you can actually see it. This is the technique. So you take a rectangle. It needs to be pixels. Whoa, that's big. So yeah, take a 19 by 20 and I do 200 pixels tool. And then I'm going to blow that up. So what's 1920 times 2? It's a Friday. It's like math is not my friend right now. All right, here we go. 384. So that's really big, which is fine. Now here comes the magic part. We take that and then we convert it to a path. Grab the path. Grab these two nodes. Insert a bunch of nodes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However we want to do it. Although we kind of want... Whoa. We kind of want to get as close as we can to having like a good split. As long as we can split it nicely at like 2 nodes basically is what we're looking to do. So it doesn't really matter. In fact, we could probably just do... How wavy do we want it? We'll go like this. Because I'm just going to cut. See, I'd be cutting between this one and this one, which only gives us 1 wave, so maybe... We'll add a second bit. So all we do is select them alternatively. I think there is a shortcut for making that better, but this is how I do it. So grab them, and then now we've got them. Grab all these, and then make selected nodes auto smooth. Now we have a cool little wavy line, which took basically no effort. And then the trick here to keeping the curves, we're just going to pick basically 2 curves that we like. So I'm just going to create a big red. Nah, he'll still be there. No, I think you did get it fixed. This part is where it actually gets a bit tricky because I don't... there's different ways you can do this, so I'm going to do it actually a different way that I've just thought. I could have just done a cut with an overlap, but instead I can do it like this. So if I take this node and that node, move you just here. Honestly, this is... It's quite fiddly using Inkscape. That's the only thing I'll say. The newer versions are a bit more friendly with Mac, but the older versions perform much quicker. So yeah, if I do this is another trick in SVG. It's all about kind of like alignment and getting things right. So you use a lot of alignment tools, a lot of path tools. So here I just want to make sure that I want to align them to a common vertical line, because it's not going to matter whether this node is here or there, you're still going to get the bottom. And all I've done is select this one, so if I align that, now you can see that, cool, that works. Now all I've got to do is delete those two and drag the, oh, I've done it to the wrong one, haven't I? Too busy talking away, and I've missed which one I was meant to go to. So I want it to this one, because I want it to be a top one. There you go. Now if I just delete these nodes, and then all I've got to do is drag this handle. Oh, I turn it into a corner first, that's important. And it should snap, yep. And then this one will snap onto there. And now you've got that nice rounded corner. I can do React whenever you like. Yeah, it's a little known fact. I think my Twitter kind of implies that I just do CSS animation. But I was doing React before I started learning how to do like cool stuff with animations and UIs and design and SVG. I was writing React code probably. And just JavaScript code in general. Like when I first, so like the first kind of projects I probably did were more like, I did CSS animation stuff, but then I did, I remember one of the first projects I did was more like a node package for doing like dot files in JavaScript. That was like one of my first kind of projects that I worked on. And then there was like the standard like to-do app kind of Trello clone. I did that with like Backbone.js. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should rebuild that project with React as something that people could like learn from. I'll show you what it is. It's old, that it's on a, there you go. It's on a GitHub domain, and this is built with Backbone, and there's plenty of room for stuff I could do with this, but I could rebuild what I used to do. So this was how I learned a lot of stuff. I had this project that I built initially with drag and drop HTML5. And then every time something new came out, like Backbone or Angular or React, or like, my idea was that I would just rebuild this app and reskin it with the latest tech. That's kind of what I did. So initially I built this just with JavaScript, and then I built it with Backbone.js and Marionette, which was like the thing at the time. And then I reskinned it to learn about doing like animation and stuff. So this is when Material UI was getting quite in. So you can like drag boards around and you can like rename them and stuff. And you can export it and load it. And this is all Markdown. It's pretty, the UX probably isn't great now, but it supports all Markdown. But the cool thing I liked was when you did, like, it had these little touches. So like the to-dos would animate in, which I was really happy about at the time, and this will allow you to insert at points, which was an absolute nightmare to implement. But the best bit about this, when you click these, it does the material bloom. But I'd be totally down to do something. I actually loved making this as well. Like, it'd be really cool to remake it. And it has some neat features. Like, you can actually do Pomodoro timing stuff for it. I never got it fully complete to do the whole Pomodoro feature set, but it worked enough. So you could do like a timer, and then when you were done, you would come out, and then if I refresh the page, it's because it hasn't gone long enough, but it would remember that in local storage. It's not a wave. The wave's getting done, don't worry, I'm doing it. I'm sorry, boss. He's actually putting us back on track. You railroaded me, Paul. Which I'm more than happy about. But yeah, I think you're onto something there. I think this would be a really good thing to do. Maybe I should do a course on building this. Because this was neat to build, and it shows some. It actually shows quite a few, I think, hurdles that people face when they're learning. So this was like, I wanted to use a third-party package, but what do you do when the third-party package doesn't quite fit your needs? And this is a good example. So like, I was using this material UI stuff, and I think it was Backbone. I struggled to get Backbone to do some of the things I wanted to do. So if you go, I don't even know how you get to the GitHub for it anymore. You could even email the board in plain text. Yeah, but no, it's all about just this one animation that it does. The bloom animation. It's the best bit. That's written in plain JavaScript as well. If I find it. So this is Backbone and Marionette. This is like pre-React stuff. Like I did a rewrite where I was like, I'm gonna rewrite it and learn all these ES6 things, and this is what I did. I think it must be in Vue, and maybe it's in Task. Basically, I think this is written by using animation end. I sure can. Come on, let's do this waves. Let's do these waves. So yeah, what you missed, Niall, because you weren't. I don't know if you were lurking or not, but the trick is when you do an SVG like this, you just grab it, do an object to path. This becomes a path. Grab them two, add some extras, and then all you have to do is grab the ones you want, move all them ones down, and then you just grab the whole thing, and there's your wave, and then you just clip the ends off. It's a really, really simple way of doing it. But yeah, all I got to do is align these two. And then we'll just trim that off. And then make sure this one's a corner. And we seem to have just lost the end of it, but that's fine. It should just dice up nicely. See, that gives us a nice big SVG. And we can get rid of this one with the object tool, and then we'll just do resize page to content. That's our new SVG with the non-broken parts. And then we'll do a save as. Yeah, Inkscape's fantastic. Honestly, it's so good. What should I call it? Don't know what to call it. Infinite. Just so I know which one it is. Save it as a plain SVG. Yeah, I'll happily show you how to do some stuff with it. It's so good. Yeah, it's free. It's a free tool. It's one of them tools that, I mean, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the diving board analogy and like biting off, like just jump in and just start playing with it, and that's kind of how you learn. But don't think about don't think about how do I use this tool? How do I use this tool? Learning it. Think of what you want to make, and then use the tool. Don't bother using it until you've got an idea of something you want to make, because otherwise, it's not pointless, but it's really hard to force yourself to. Like, there's so much stuff in here that I don't know how to use, like 100%. And a lot of these things I don't use. So like, you can like make stars and stuff straight up. I rarely use like the freehand kind of stuff or anything like that. I do a lot of just like overlaps and things. So I'd take like a square, a circle, take both of them, turn them to paths, and then this is how you can do really cool stuff with paths. So you'd be like exclusion, that just cuts out the middle. Right. That's the tricks you want to learn. They're the most important parts of SVG. Doing like path manipulation. That's where you gain like real good power to be able to make stuff. The other things you learn is kind of when you write it by hand. That's how it's worked. I think that was the first one. I think that was the first one I added to the stream. The second one was air horns. And then maybe this one. Definitely a favourite. So yeah, I've just copied the code out of this. Now, what I tend to do is, this is just a little thing I like to do just in case I need to come back and get the code again for some reason. Like, I want to change it later on down the line. Because what I'm going to actually do is switch it. So for wireframing, I do like Figma, but I gotta be honest, I barely do any wireframing. I rarely do it. I tend to just do. Let me just check what I've got in here actually. I think we're good. I don't think there's anything in here. Yeah, so pretty much most stuff is just all in here, just like random notes that I make. So like, this is all notes about how I've been doing the Netlify stuff. That's obviously the light switch toggle. That's the bear. Konami code, 11 partials. It's just anytime I have an idea, it just goes in here, just randomly scribbled, and then I just sort of. So look, here's the wave stuff. I was already gonna make this anyway. I'd written it down the other day. Yeah, and it's just height animation. I don't know what this cube's for. But this was already in the plans. And there's a lesson around this that I want to make. And then these are another lessons ideas. So this is like Skypack and how to do animating custom properties, because that's really pretty fun. And then, yeah, it's just some frame of motion content to write about. It's just a list of people that need stickers. And oh, this is a cool one. Oh, this is all the math I was trying to do last week on stream. It was driving me around a bend, but this Planet Explorer thing, I can show you that. It's really cool. it's a pen that I completely forgot that I made. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So this is something I want to rebuild. And this is a React thing. So this is just like generative planets, and you get this little dude that's like a little astronaut. And then if you hold down, this is why I want to change it, I want to add sounds and stuff. If you hold down the spacebar, is it spacebar? Or no, if you there you go. If you hold down the mouse, he'll jump. But he'll jump based on how long you've held the mouse down. And then if you hit this, and then every time you get a new planet. Which is pretty cool. It's one like I say, it's one I completely forgot about, but I had a lot of fun making it. Can't remember what the name of the video game is, but it was based on a game that I played that I had a lot of fun with. Yeah, you can just keep clicking for ages, you just keep getting different ones. I think the game, I think I've remembered what it's called. I think it's called there it is. Cosmicoria. And it's just one of them little chill games you can just sit and play. And you kind of go around and you jump and you have to like colonize the little planets, I think. It's pretty cool. Why is this not converted? Alright, there we go. So now I've just got to recreate this dev piece again, which is fine. And this, I don't know if Niall was in at this point, so he'll actually learn the trick for this as well. Oh yeah, do you have me on Twitter? Just like DM me. I am there. Feel free to. I implore people too. I don't know if people always feel a bit like weird about messaging me or whatever, but just ping me. I kind of think you may need to be drunk to appreciate that game. That game's cool. Really cool. Really fun. We just fire Kitty out. I'm looking forward to actually using this one, especially for Niall today. A command that doesn't get used enough, but we're going to use it for Niall. So I'm going to show you the magic that I was on about, and this is how you achieve that break. Now, I've already talked through it once, but I'm sure if we do it as a refresher, then people definitely know how it works. So imagine that's our SVG, and I know you know enough. Kind of so I know that you know enough SVG, or you know enough Pug to know what I'm doing with it after we did our workshop together. Which, if you haven't checked out and you haven't checked Niall's channel, go check it out. It was really fun. And it actually broke me, not mentally, but it broke me into showing my face a bit more for people. So I still really appreciate that now. Because it was like the first person to really say, hey, if you wouldn't mind, would you come on and do something with me? So it's appreciated. You can. There's loads of commands, and I'm making some more. If you got requests of what you want to see made, though, to animate over the top, let me know, because I've got bunches of ideas for things I could put over the top. But I just not got around to making them. And I've got how many? 6 buttons here that need filling with something. I like this one, but we've not really solved anything major today, so. But yeah, as I was saying, that's our SVG. I've just styled it so it's a width of 50 VDubs by 10 VH. So that's what it does. It'll stretch. If I do 100 VW, it'll just stretch to as far as it can. Now, because I'm on a 34, actually no, that won't make sense. Why has it only gone that far? It's only gone that far because it's got a set height. So this is the trick to learn. So it had a set height and a set width, but it's still not stretching. And this is sometimes a little confusing, and people aren't always familiar with this. So if I set the background to green, now you can see where the image is. But hold up, the SVG is the full width, but the wave isn't. What's going on? So what you need to do is you need to use preserve aspect ratio. Oh, we also need to fix this because sometimes the view box goes a bit weird, but it won't make any changes. So by default, the SVG is using, can't remember which one it is. Is it like X? I think it's mid, maybe. I know it's meat, I think. But yeah, in SVG you can basically set an aspect ratio and have it preserve on the resize. So what's happening here? We want this one, which is aspect ratio none, so it just stretches to whatever we have. It should tell you what the default is here. I wanted to tell you what the default is. I should really know it. I think it's probably one of these. Oh, that's killer. And you're probably in a different time zone, right? So I'm glad to hear that as well. You're welcome back anytime. I normally would start earlier, but I got sidetracked. But yeah, great to have you around. And if there's anything you want to know, feel free to ping me or DM me. Or if I haven't, I'm terrible for, like, if I engage with people, then I'm like, oh, like, and then I forget or I completely miss that people have followed me or something. So just ping me, because obviously I want to see what everyone else is up to as well. That's where the inspiration comes from, right? Talking, creating, coming up with things. Like this whole wave thing has started because Niall was doing them on his stream. Then I happened to notice them when I was cruising around on the web. And now we're making them. Yeah, I'm just terrible at keeping up with who follows and who doesn't. So I actually had someone actually messaged me once and said, for real, do you actually respond to everyone? And I was like, yeah, I do. I do my best to respond to everyone. It's hard sometimes, but I make the time for it because it's important. Like that's how you get to meet people. If I just make it a one-way thing and I just pump things out, like, what use is that? I'm here to get to know people too, right? So yeah, I try and do my best. But yeah, someone actually messaged me once saying, like, do you actually, like, take the time to do that? And I was like, yeah. Hell yeah, I do. Why would I not? It's rude. I think it's almost rude not to. I think it's understandable, though. Sometimes people just get lost with other stuff. But yeah, I was trying to do my best eventually. Oh, you know what I was doing there as well? I was actually updating the wrong one. So Thank you, thank you, thank you. Glad to have you on board. So yeah, it still doesn't scale. And what we need to do is use preserve aspect ratio. Before I derail myself talking about following and interacting and stuff. He was waiting. Why have you not been updated though? You should become the name. Wherever my finger is. Yeah, you should become part of the layout eventually. That's what the names are for there. Yeah, if we set a preserve aspect ratio on this, then we'll be cooking. And then I can show Niall the real tricks. So we set that to none. And instantly, it scales across like magic. It's alright. When we start doing the team stream, then maybe that's what we call it, the team stream. It'll all be good because we'll just be we'll be a power couple. Now I hope you're watching this bit, Niall, so you understand what's going on now, because this is the key part coming up. This is it right here. So if I set the wave to 50 VW so you can see it, and now the trick inside here, and I need to get rid of these before they confuse me. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to show you how the defs tag works that I was on about earlier. So the trick is to create a definition of this path. And that gives me a path that I can just reuse wherever I want it. And to use it, I can just get a group, do a use, do a href, and point to that path. Now nothing has changed, which is what we expect. But this is where the magic comes in right here. Create a second one. And translate it by, let's say 50. And that's 50 pixels in the coordinate space of the SVG. Whoa, now we have 2. And we only had to write it once. Now, the clever bit is that we know exactly how big the view box is. The view box is 762 wide. All we want is an infinite animation, so you know, when it gets to the edge of the screen, oh wait, it's breaking. So what you do is you just create and the funny thing is I can actually do that with this notebook. I don't know where I've put the other version of this. I have a few of these notebooks. They're really neat. But the trick is obviously to take one path, use it, create another path, use it, and now just animate that, and it will look like it's constant. So all we got to do is take that view box unit, which is 762, plug that in there, and now it looks like nothing has changed. But if you go in here and set the overflow to visible on the SVG, ta-da! It's an infinite wave. And now, if you actually set, and this is the tricky little bit, you take the path, and I've just set a wave animation here of 45 seconds, because that's what we found on that Starling site. But all that has to do, and this is the kind of weird bit, right? it has to do a translate of the view box size. So the view box is 762 wide. Cool. But you translate it by 762. But it won't actually move 762 pixels in the DOM. It'll move 762 pixels inside the SVG. But now you'll see it. So you can see it actually moving. If we speed that up a bit, because that is pretty slow, do 10 seconds. When it gets to the end, it will look like it's infinite, because it never stops, but it only slides across the width of 1. Done. Across, done. Across, done. That's your trick right there. And then that is how you solve it, by only writing it once. So now you only have the one wave. You never have to change this again. But what you'll be able to do, and here comes the cool part, is now you can change that back. And you notice that's a little bit wiggly. What you do is just adjust that by half a pixel, and that'll get rid of that little line. Sometimes you have to fiddle with it a little bit. No pun. There you go, the line's gone now. You won't actually notice that. If we size that to 100, well, look at that. It will scale, it will size however the browser does, and you never have to change it again. Zing. Pretty neat, right? Pretty cool. Yeah, I do need to write an article on this. It's one of those magic tricks that in my hat, in my tool belt of tricks that I need a blog for so I can share them. Eventually, I will get my marketing department sorted out, and, you know, we'll all be good. It might have to be you for the moment, Niall. But yeah, so the trick now is to obviously get rid of that. And now we're in that position where we can actually plug this in. So you've got two waves, and there's two ways you can do this actually. You could just duplicate the SVG a few times, and then that would probably be the easiest way, I think. So if I actually, let's do it as a footer or something, how we were going to do it before, and just create this as a mix-in wave. And then just do plus wave 3 times, and then I could even plug it in randomly if I wanted in there. But then we're in styling land, and we can just be like, do you know what footer is? Height 50 VH, width 100. Oh yeah, actually. Depending on, so I want to do a footer version, so I need to do this slightly differently. How do I need to do it? I can do it like, yeah, I'm gonna do main. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do display flex, align item center, justify content center, main background blue, footer background green. I just want to split screen for a second, and I'm just going to do main. Why is, oh, each one needs to be flex 1. Oh, actually, it needs to be, that's going to help. Not sure. Oh, because it's got no width, right? Yeah, it's got no width, so give it some width. Do what I can. Now the actual trick here is going to be to chuck these into the main, and then actually put them all at the bottom. But you would rotate and change based on your needs. So like for a header, you might switch it 180, but you do it with a transform because it would just be cleaner than trying to work it out. And you just play your animation backwards, so it went the other way. So here I'd just be like, cool, root background is going to be, I don't know, what kind of color do people want as the background? Like a Discordy kind of blue maybe? I think that'll be maybe like a 180, 30, 30. Not far off. It's probably a bit more blue. Maybe like 210. That looks like Discord blue. The wave color, I'm gonna go for HSL 00989. Now main doesn't actually need a color at the moment, but I'm gonna give it that BG color to start, and the footer's gonna be the wave color, which doesn't really make a change. The main is gonna be position relative, and each wave, which I don't think I've given these a class, no I haven't. Each wave is position absolute, and it's bottom 0. Cool. And we'll just do left 0, right 0, because that'll make it full width. And we'll give the main an overflow of hidden. Cool, so that is pretty much how it should be. Obviously you can see it scrolling side to side, which is fine. That's just how it's going to be. That's just how overflow dragging works. So now I'm in a position where I can just change the speeds and the sizes, which is pretty neat. So I could just be like, right, for the first one, if I can type properly. For the first one, I'm going to say a speed of 1 second and an opacity of, what should we say? 0.3 and a height of, what height should we go? Let's do the height of 15. And yeah, let's do a width of 120. And then in here, we can just do calc var height. Gonna default to 0, so nothing actually shows. 1vh, and then calc var width. Default to 0, so it will be hidden by default. 1VW. Then in here, the path is going to be, I'm going to change this to wave. And then the path color is going to be var wave. And the opacity is going to be var opacity, and the speed is going to be var, it's going to be calc. It's going to be calc var speed. And that's going to be 0, and that's going to be times 1 second. So you should get really quick. There you go. Just a super quick wave. But that will actually scale up and down. That'll work quite well. It comes in handy when you want to start multiplying things. So like, for instance, this is really quick because it's only 1 second. But then if I decided, do you know what? I want to just slow everything down for a second. I just make it 10 seconds just by doing that. So it's a way of like, you can almost use it like a time scale switch, which becomes really quite handy sometimes. Also, you can do other tricks with it. So basically, the reason I do it is so I can leave things unitless. And the reason for that is I might decide later down the line that, actually, I'm going to switch this out to pixels. It's going to be tiny. But I only had to change it in one place. I didn't have to go and change it everywhere. Which makes it a lot easier to maintain if I know that everything that's coming in is just a number. Which does make life a little bit easier. Trying to think other uses for it. It's pretty good when you want to do like on-off switches, which Niall was talking about earlier, which is something I like doing for dark modes and stuff. So like if I wanted to do a dark mode on this, I could do an on. Like, so one thing I use a lot of is I do something like on 5, and then I might say, do you know what, my background is and there's different ways of doing this. I might say that and this is just a quirk of having to do this with styluses. I might say it's something like 5 or 30 plus var on times, and then whatever I'm going to add on. So like I might say, oh, do you know what, I'm going to add on 40 when it's in light mode. And then I say times 1%. Now on is 0, so nothing will change. On is 1. Now I've got a lighter mode. So now I've just got a binary switch. As quick as that. Which is like super handy for stuff. And then you can use it to like dictate transitions and whatever else you want to do. It looks messy, but it saves you a hell of a lot of maintenance down the road. If you can work out ways to do things like that. Which tends to be why I spend a bit of time just architecting some ideas before I really dig in. But I should really architect some designs for the site because I've got none. My site at the moment, obviously there's not a lot to it, but I just freestyled that. Nothing's variabled, it's just, yeah, 2rem looks good. That's just how I went about it. So for number 2, I'm going to take the rem off of that as well because it's looking a bit wild. Number 2, let's do a speed of, I don't know, 3, opacity 0.6, height 10, width 200, rad. And then the third one, speed 10, opacity 1, height 6, width 180. He's gone. He's left us. He hates us. But yeah, now I can just tweak away and I end up with something good. Although it's weird, it's like an optical illusion because I feel like I can see a line there. But I'm pretty sure there isn't a line because that last one is opacity 1. And there's no way I can actually see through it. Which is really weird. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's weird. It's like an optical illusion. I feel like I can see a line. I don't know if I can or not. Ah, it's gone now. Maybe I wasn't doing something quite right. But yeah, that is how you do it. I'm not too worried about that one. I do know how to fix that though. It's down to this. It's how accurate you want to be with it. And it's purely because of a scaling thing. So yeah, you can see it. There's a little line just there. It's like the narrowest of little margins to get it right. So like now it's fine, but at certain viewports it might break, it might not. So it just depends. That's kind of the price you pay for having it responsive. If you've built it like perfectly, you probably get away with it. But yeah, then you can just do. The joy of this is now we're in a place where we can just say, do you know what? This one's 20, this one's 30, and that one's 45. Reload it. And then just mess around with the widths, the heights. You know what, like, I think that one should be 240. Or maybe even 320. And I think the speed is too close to that one, so I'm going to make it 60. And then it's genuinely just a case of messing around with it. Just coming up with different speeds, different heights that you like the look of. Obviously, yeah, like you said, I've still got that little stitch line there, which isn't brilliant. But there's ways you could get around that. You could do like solid colours if you really wanted. That would actually get you kind of around it. Oh, also, it might be because I wasn't matching them up. That might fix it. The animation didn't actually match the offset. Yeah, that looks pretty close. I think, yeah, I get approaches potentially about that. Yeah, I mean, I do. It's hard because unless it's by email, I probably don't see a lot of it. So I like, because Twitter DMs, like you obviously have to do like the message request and stuff. So some of it I miss. The only thing I'm not happy about this now is there's a little bit of a stitch line, which isn't great. But it's pretty close. And I think you could probably get away with it by changing the, like, just keeping these as solids. Like, it'd probably work. But it's not a bad shout. It's not a bad attempt for how long have we done this? I mean, I talk probably 90% of the time. So let's say we did it in 5 minutes. But no, it's pretty close. So I reckon we can give it the old ship. This is the one I wanted to fire off for Niall. Nice. It's a kind of purple colour today. I've not built that one yet. But that is, if you did this with SVG, if you did this with, what was I going to say? If you did this with a background image, you'd probably get a neater effect. The only issue is you wouldn't get, I don't think you'd get the flexibility. So it's how you want to deal with it, really. The stitch lines are a little bit annoying. I feel like there's probably a way around them. Could probably do something like, what about, enough just to prove, actually. Oh, because I removed the pixel, sorry. So the stitch lines will probably appear again when it finally comes in. Well, I don't know why the stitch lines are appearing, actually, because they shouldn't be appearing, should they? Oh no, they would be appearing, because you're sliding that one across, and now it restarts. But it's purely because as you scale... Nah. That's the one thing I need to work out how to do better. How to stitch two users together with no gaps. So like I say, I could just do a 1 there and do a 1 there, but because it's opacity, you're going to get a bright line. When it eventually comes in. Oh, decent. I didn't realise you're a Newcastle fan. You've got ex-Arsenal. Isaac Hayden. I think I've just given it away. I could do something like this, in fact, just thinking about it, just to try and see if the stitch lines can go away, because I don't really like them. If I do calc var lightness times 1%, give that a 0, they're all going to turn black in a second. Oh, they actually look really good dark. I do like them overlapping, that's the only issue. I do kind of like that. But if I... How to lose your Twitch audience 101. If I did 95, 100, 90. You still kind of get the effect, but now they're all solid, so you're not going to get any stitch lines. But you've just got enough subtle change that it'll work. Which looks kind of nice. And then... Oh yeah, totally. I agree with that. I didn't see that message. Yeah, there's a lot of Arsenal players like that I wish just kind of had never been turfed out. But at least he's playing, which is good. Yeah, that is kind of how you do the waves. So then you could just do... It's quite fun, actually, because now... I feel like... I don't know why I want to do this, but I just want to do it because I love this trick. So this is the trick I need to write up. Is it initial value 0 syntax? Oh, I don't think I've got this right. Integer inherits true. I don't know if I've got initial right. I feel like it's that, maybe. Or is it just that? I don't know. What did I do the other day? I wasn't going to cheat. I was going to hopefully remember it. But it looks like I can't remember it. So I'm going to have to... And this is the wrong one, so that doesn't help. Public. Ah, it is initial value. I was right. I doubted myself. This one was cool. Do you know what I found out the other day as well? You can actually animate a color stop now, just for CSS. So I did this one, which is like a seashore. And all I'm doing is animating the color stop in a gradient. I just thought I'd try it and see if it worked, and it actually does. And it gives this kind of calming wave effect. Talking of waves, you know. Let's go back. And my idea here is that I'm going to do an Easter egg. And I'm going to do ampersand active animation 1 second infinite hue jump 1 second infinite linear, and then we're going to do $s whoa, what's happened there? Why have they gone to complete darkness? Oh, that's weird. That should be working. Body should be active. Animation hue jump. Do you know why that's not working? Because I haven't even created the keyframe. That would help. Although it's not helped. Why has it not helped? Should we see if it actually just works normally? That's not going to work because that's going to break that, but... Oh, this is interesting. Huh. So that doesn't work on SVG. That surprises me. That really surprises me. Unless I'm missing something, but I might be. Let's find out. If I've done it wrong here, then we know something's up. Oh. Ah, come on. It just doesn't work on this. It just doesn't work on SVG. which is interesting. I thought it might. But yeah, you can take this then and then do kind of whatever you want with it. So, which is kind of neat. So after it's... Oh, you know why it's not working? Because I've left that as HSLA. I wonder if it'll work. Var hue 0. Calc var. Hue. Now it's just black. Why is it black? Because this has been taken out. Ah, but the animation's still not working. Nah, oh well. What I was hoping to do is, when you put your mouse down, animate the waves to be like crazy coloured. But it looks like that doesn't want to work. Which is interesting. I thought it might work inside SVG, but maybe not. I don't know why not, but maybe I'm typing something not quite right. But yeah, that is how you create SVG waves in not much time at all. I actually kind of like it like this without the opacity. I think it actually looks a bit cooler. It looks a bit neater. And then you can do other stuff. So you could do... you could start adding extra animations. So you could make the... You can actually animate the wave itself. I don't know. Get rid of this one. Keyframes rise, 50%, transform, translate, and let's go minus 25%, just see what happens. See, now you see like they're just going up and down, so you could just do like 1 and 2 go up and down, or maybe only the third one goes up. No, the second one even. And then you could be like, do you know what? I do that over 10 seconds, and I will give it this rise value, which is like 50, and then I plug that into this. So now you can see that one's going up and down. And then, do you know what? I may as well just plug that into wave. And then I could just do calc var speed. And this goes back to what we were saying earlier. I just times that by 1.5 because I've already got it. Now they're all doing it. Although for some reason that has bumped up, which it shouldn't have. Why have you all bumped up? Speed 0. Speed goes into the wave, right? Yep. Speed 18. There is no rise though. But rise is 0. So maybe if I just apply a rise of 0 to these, that might fix it. I just doesn't like the first one. It's just cut us a line of this. Because if I just change that to 0, well, isn't that interesting? How fiddly. There is one way around that, I guess, which would be to do a bottom of minus 5%. And now if I apply that animation, it's fine. And then if I bring this back in, so calc var rise times -1%. And it's not working. Why is it not working? It doesn't like the speed for some reason. Var speed. Oh no, it does like the speed. One way to debug. So it's just because it's rising way too much. So if I just did like 5, nothing on that one, and 2 on that one. It's just a very minor effect, but this way you'll get a slight kind of, very, very slight rock as well. And when you scale it right in, you'll get bumpy waves. But this is something you could just mess around with the sizing. So this is why I use viewport unit. You could just, like, a lot of sites will just hide them at certain sizes because they just don't look good because they've not catered for it to be responsive. It's on a mobile, they'll probably just hide it. Whereas here, we could just say, do you know what, at a breakpoint, I could just do this. I could just say, at media max width, what should we say, 480 pixels, do a width of calc var width 0 times, I've done the wrong one, I want the height. That's because I was saying width. So when it goes below 480, then squash back down. So it gets bouncy, 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 480 goes back down to flat. So that way you can keep it relatively responsive. You could just change this value. So, you know what, I might be like, actually 3/4 looks alright. Oh yeah, 3/4 looks fine. And now I'm able to sort of go in and out. It's completely responsive. I can do whatever I want with it. And it's going to work on every viewport. It might look a bit weird in some places, but it's just a case of tweaking it and tailoring it to your needs. But yeah, that's it really. That's how you create SVG waves with CSS. I'll drop that into a code pen, and you can have the link and go and destroy it and do what you want with it. And if you find it useful, yeah, if you find it useful, I appreciate any sharing of it or anything you do. Just tell them where you found it. That's all I ask. And for Niall, well, I'll invoice him. There must be a wave emoji that we can use. Rad. We may as well put some shades on that as well. Drop that in the chatteroo. Technically it's shipped, so now it's going to launch into the atmosphere. Yeah, quite happy with that one. It's quite quick to make. I didn't really doubt myself. I thought it was going to be alright. I just wasn't 100% sure about the use part. Yeah, 100%. I think it's one of them, like, and it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. I think you don't appreciate the stuff that goes into it, and I don't appreciate the stuff that goes into it because I take it for granted because I've done it for so long. And that's just, yeah, just kind of how it goes. So you kind of forget where you come from and then what you learn. And it's something I struggle with a bit, especially when I do screencasting, because I just assume that people know what I know. So I feel like there's no point in sharing it, which is a really weird place to be in. When you're like, oh, like people will actually find this useful. You should probably write about it, or tell people about it, or show them how to do it. Which is the plan. I'm getting better at it. So yeah, I think this one was a fun one, and it wasn't too bad. Yeah, someone pinged me actually, and I might share it online to see what people think. But someone pinged me a interview style question for JavaScript, and naturally I didn't realize they were asking me about it. I thought they wanted the answer, so I pinged a one-liner back. It was like a chained array thing where I was doing a reduce or something, I can't remember. And yeah, they said like this is one that people struggle with, and I'd be interested to see what people put as a solution. So I might ask if I can pinch it, because maybe I could do some of them for people, like just kind of like help people out with that kind of stuff as well. I don't know, whatever people want to see, I'm happy to help. I think that's the point I'm getting at. Like, I like working on this stuff, so I like it when people reach out and say, I don't know how might I do this, or that's why, to be honest, that's why I like jumping into Niall's stream and derailing, because if he's working on something, I like to see how he's going to approach it, or if he says, how might you do this? You know what, algorithms, don't worry about algorithms. You'll find them online when you need them. And that's my honest take on that. They're tough. As long as you know, like, the things that you should, I guess, kind of, like, basic stuff, like, I don't even know, like, trigonometry and stuff, maybe? I don't know. But honestly, most stuff, when you need it, you just go and find it. You just Google it, or search engine of your choice, insert here. I'm getting bad at using that as a word. You DuckDuckGo it, you Bing it, you whatever you use it. But one example is when you do one I have. Let me show you. It's probably easier to show you than to tell you. So I made this like ages ago. This is like a spin-off of one of the first things I made with CSS. So this is like it's all these different loading animations, and there was, I can't remember where they are. Might be this one. Nope. I know where it might be actually. Could be this one. No, it's not this one either. Basically, I went through a stage of like trying to work out how to do single element, like pseudo element loading animations, and it's really tricky to work out the XY coordinate of a point around a circle if you can't just say translate Y rotate, or rotate then translate, like you would with these examples here. For these examples, with CSS, you're just kind of saying, here's a dot, rotate it 45 degrees, then translate it out by the radius, which is how you do these, because you can chain transforms in CSS. But when you've got no way of doing that, and you're doing it with like a background gradient, you need to actually work out the precise X and Y's around a circle, which requires like I think cosine or sine or something like that. And those kind of things, they go right over my head. Like, as soon as you start saying, yeah, just use tan, and I'm like, what? Because it's something I never really grasped very well. And it was probably one of the reasons my math like wasn't brilliant for getting into like. So I wanted to be an architect. I had no real notion of computer science or computers or coding or any of that. My use of a computer stretched to throwing together a couple of videos of me on my BMX bike when I was like in high school. That was about it. So I got an awakening when I decided I was going to do coding. So I skipped a lot of it, like a lot of the, like, because my math wasn't quite there to do an architecture. My grades weren't quite there. So, oh wow, movie set puppets. That'd be sweet though. What have you been doing, Paul, as well? Because you're looking, right, to go into tech, if that's correct, if I remember rightly. So what have you, is it finance or something? Or am I mixing you with someone else? I lose track. Honestly, I'm terrible. Once I interact with people more, I obviously remember, I know more, but it's one of them, like I'm terrible at remembering stuff. It feels like I'm living 48-hour days in 24s. Sometimes. Ah, cool. It must be someone else. Someone I spoke to was doing finance or something and moving. Oh, I know what it was. Sorry, it's a friend's brother. I was talking about it the other day. He's gone from like doing financial, like analytics or something for like a big firm, working with like finances, and now he's moved into coding, and it actually was a real benefit for him because the company that he applied to or something like is a financial firm, so it's a bonus because he understands that side of it before he gets into the coding side of it, which makes a lot of sense. I've worked on some finance things before, and it's like, wow, what is going on? How long have I been coding? About 10 years, I think. Quite a long time. Yeah, quite a long time. But that's why it's funny, because people, I don't know, people have these different perspectives. Like they think I'm just a CSS guy and I've just like learned to do CSS animation like yesterday or something. I don't know. That's the vibe I get. But funny enough, when I started, I did JavaScript, I did Java, I did Adobe Flex, I did C Sharp. My first role was Java, and then I got a little glimpse of front end code, working on a pretty cool open source project, and then I left that role to become an actual front end developer, and then yeah, kind of went from there. Went into a financial firm, hated it, hated the corporate side of it, which made me take a dive and go into contracting, because there's not a lot of, or at the time there weren't a lot of like tech opportunities near where I live. So I was like, do you know what? I'll just do freelancing. I'll just do contracting, and I'll see how that goes. That'll be fine. I didn't find any work, and I didn't have a lot of money, to be fair, and I had to pay rent, so it was quite scary. And in the end, I was like, I just got to do something, and then it just sort of happens. And I think that's something people, yeah, that's why I try and get people in here to see the kind of stuff I can do. But then at the same time, it's kind of nice because, you know, the people that do come here get to find out this side to me, and you know that I'll help you out if you're stuck on something, anytime. So yeah, it's kind of nice, really, because the people in here, the viewers, you're kind of an executive club. So yeah, You're the VIPs, so to speak. So it works in your favor, I guess. But yeah, I hopped into contract, and I think that's kind of what I was going to say is like, you make it work. Like you make it work. If it, like, you'll find a way. Like if you got to do it, you'll do it. Something will happen. Like I've been in places, so I never know how to say it. Pure G. It just looks like pure G whenever I read it, but can vouch. I've been in moments where I'm like, I'm not gonna find work. I'm not gonna get a contract. Nothing's gonna, and then free come along. It's just how it goes. That's something you have to get used to, actually. If you do freelance work, be used to like periods where you might just not have as much on, but don't be worried, because stuff just normally happens. The world has a weird way of just coming out to help you at the right point, it seems. Or that's my experience. I can't vouch for everyone, obviously, but yeah, that's kind of a brief overview of how I started coding, and how long I've been coding. I went from contracting as well. I actually stopped contracting to get my house, and I went full time, so it was easier to do the paperwork. And now, recently, like the last month, no, the last month. It's not the last month. It's the last few months. I actually quit my full-time work, and I've gone full-time content creation, freelance and stuff again, and I've just sort of started picking up freelance stuff when people have come and asked me. I've been like, okay, cool. Let's if something piques my interest, I'll be wanting to do it, so I have. And then obviously, like, Niall keeps teasing that he's gonna lock me away and do code for him, so yeah, so that's a funny one. And I don't know if it's luxury or not luxury. I think it's a mix of me being stubborn, or not even stubborn, actually, just knowing what I wanted. So I've pretty much always worked remote the majority of my career, and I think it's much easier to do now than it was when I started. I was very fortunate. The first company I worked for, it was a remote position. So I had to go, I went on site maybe like once a month, which was quite nice. And then I'd go up to the office and see everyone. But that was in Edinburgh, so it's quite far from me. So I'd like fly up, maybe spend a couple of days or so, or maybe like Monday to Friday, and then I'd come back, and I'd do that sort of every once in a while. But then I worked on site full time for a company for like a couple of years, and then after that I was like what am I going to do? I'm going to do contracting. I'm just going to wait for remote contracts. But then I worked on site in London for a bit, and I was like, I don't enjoy this. So I went back and did more remote. And then I worked on site in London for like a year, because it was a really good, like, it was a decent kind of setup. But then I just had enough of it. And then I came back to doing remote. And then, like, I don't know, the last stage of my last contracting cycle, I guess, I don't know, window, because now I'm on the new one. I don't know what to call it. The first session of contracting. I don't know. The latter part of that, I ended up doing a lot of work for US clients, which is quite cool. So I work with companies in the US, which always works out quite nice for me, because I'm quite flexible in my day. I don't know what other people are like. I'm a bit of a nighttime person, so Niall's brilliant. I like Niall. I don't actually. Do you know what? I don't actually speak to him enough, and it probably doesn't come across that way, because we speak quite well, but we don't actually speak too often. But we just seem to click, which is brilliant. Which is why I kind of like. I like to. So I have a Calendly, set up where people can just like book time to come and like chat to me or whatever. Now it's been annoying because a couple of people have booked, and then I've had other things come up. So like I was on James Quick's podcast, that one overran one of my other appointments, so I missed it, and then like I had something come up the other day. But if anyone ever wants to just chat, just randomly, book a slot, or come in the stream, or ping me on Twitter, or whatever you want. But the only thing that I'd say is if you book a slot of time, if you want to just chat and say, hey, just write that you want to do that. It's when people like write, I want to make this or something, and I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of like a fine balance. I don't mind people asking me for help. It's the moment when people say, I want to make this, I book your time so you can tell me how to make it, because that's technically consulting, and I should actually be charging you for that. So, so yeah, especially if like I don't even know like the person. I feel like that's kind of weird. Like if people I've actually spoke with, even like this, like if you ping me, Paul, and said, I don't know how to do this, like, where's a good place to start looking? I'd happily help you out because you've actually like introduced yourself. I know who you are. You often ping me online or we back and forth. It's completely different. And yeah, it's like you say, there's a cut-off point where people like, yeah, just take the mick. So it's like, I don't mind. I will help you out, but it's not all one way. So that's why like I'm happy to help Niall out, because like he put me on his channel. I don't know where he is. It seems like he's gone. But I think I was the first person to go on his YouTube, or I was one of the first people to be on his YouTube channel, which I was quite like honored by, and yeah, I really appreciate that. So anytime, like, I'd gladly help him out. If he pings me something, happily, like I'll take the time, ping him a link back, or like today, like in his stream where he's doing the waves, I'll happily make a demo for him and ping him the link so he can see how I would do it. Like, that's kind of what I am. Like, if I can help you, I will help you. So, I mean, the example even, I wonder if I don't have a link for it, but the thing that, so what, because let's say, obviously I derailed last week's one as well, and Niall was building this I don't at all, because I like the challenge, you know what I'm like. So yeah, Niall's little challenge for me was can you build a slider, or like how would we do this as an infinite slider, this framer thing? And then I was like, do you know what, I'm going to go off and make that, and I'm going to do it with Skypack, and I'm going to do it with style components, and I'm going to make it with like Framer. And then I just sat there on the sofa one night with the laptop. I was like, I need to get this to work. And then I go to work and just pinged him a link. And it pretty much works. The only thing I'm not keen on is this little bleed part here, but that's because of this gradient, and I don't know why it's doing that. It sort of cuts off that little point for some reason, but it works pretty well. And obviously you just fit it into your design. The only thing is I did find a bug when you like really spam it. Then it doesn't let you do it. Like now it's broke. But I think I know how to fix that. But it was purely starting a conversation or starting a way of getting it working, I think. Did I completely break it? Oh no, I didn't. It does still work. Sort of. It's gone really, really laggy. But it's because I've got about 84 tabs open in Chrome. Oh dear. But yeah. Bedtime. Yeah, it sounds like a plan. I'm gonna stream to. I might. I might stream tomorrow. I might be streaming tomorrow. I don't know yet. But I'll definitely be streaming Sunday. Because I'm gonna carry on working. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's a real G. I need some more I'm running out of animations here. There we go. This guy. But yeah, yeah, I'll stream Sunday. I think Sunday I'll probably do some I'll probably do some 11 East site. Although Niall, if you're here, do you want to see yeah. Do you want to see my storybook quick? For my site, because I know I told you about it. I don't know if you want to see it. I'll happily show you quickly what it looks like, because it's pretty cool. Yeah, let me show you, because I'm really happy with it. This little architecture I got going on, I can't wait to write about it. So let me show you. We're kind of going off tangent, but the waves are done. So the waves are done now. So this is my site source currently. And if I walk you through how this stack works, quick. So it's just 11T. You've got a prod version and a dev version. And basically what they do is they pump out config YAML for Netlify CMS. So I can run it in a local only mode. And then I have some Webpack code, which I've written here to do some special rules. And yeah, you know that. For some special rules which are going to load HTML and styles into my storybook. And then in my storybook, so what I've done is, if I show you my actual site, so if I load it, yarn dev, and it's rapid. Look how quick that is to get going. That's doing an npx there to set up a server. That's just so fast. So this is it at the moment. There's nothing to it. It's just I've not done any of the layout. This is purely how I've just been working on getting the fonts in and just getting the structure in and like messing about with the code. But if I take so what did Niall write a second ago? Did he write something nice about me? Yep, I'm going to quote him. And this might force him to write a nice quote for me. But if I do another tab and go to admin, now I have Netlify CMS running in local mode. And I can do a new ad. So I have this concept of blurbs on my site where people can write stuff about me. Now if I just drop I dropped this in as a quote because you just wrote it in chat. And what was Niall? What's your Twitter handle? Is it? It's not Joe, is it? It's just Niall Mayer, isn't it? Oh, it is Joe Mayer. I was right. I've been doubting myself a bit. So yeah, if I publish that, publish now, that's saved. Now you can already see that reloaded in the background. Come here, it's already here waiting for me. So I can do this all locally, but this isn't the. This is only part of how cool it is. So if I load up a new tab, and I start a storybook, this is where it gets really, really cool. Takes a little moment to build. Now I have a full-on storybook which accepts the snippets of my site, the partials of my site. So in here I have like these includes, which are part of the layout. So you have this layout.pug, and I've got in here partials footer, which lives in this partials file. Here's the footer. Here's an MDX story. Here's the footer, which I can change. So I can be like Nile and Paul here. Instantly, that's in the storybook. That's also here in the site. But I can also do stuff. This is my MDX. So in my MDX, I have this rad little function that I've written. And I've bent Webpack to my will so that I can just import that pug partial. Webpack converts it to a HTML string. And then I've written a little generator function where I pass it the markup. And then I can just pass it HTML attributes of whatever I want. And that will load in the storybook with the different variations. So I could be like, I want a story where the footer is green, and then I just go, cool, green, and I don't know, I want the font size to be 10, and then it should just load up. There you go, there it is, boom. And that is, honestly, I was thrilled when I solved this little issue. So what I'm doing there, I'm doing it's a little bit of a hack, but it's pretty cool. If I show you, I've been doing TypeScript where you just do like, the other repo I work in on the daily for my work, like I just do like a command click and it takes me straight to the thing. But yeah, what I'm doing is I have this like renderer. Utility functions for Storybook. So this one will take JSX. It'll take some markup as a prop. All it does is it creates a HTML string, and there's even a callback, like loop, so you can do stuff to it, and then it just returns it as a string without HTML. So it's pretty rad. So like for this, it returns the wrapper. So in my story, I could be like, I think on before comes last. So I could be like wrapper, wrapper dot first child dot append child document dot create element. So let's just add a random link, and I think it will actually add a link randomly into here. There it is. There's an empty link. So I've even implemented a callback like feature or a pre-inject feature, so I can do that. So yeah, it's pretty freaking sweet. Sorry, that's a little bleep there. But I am that excited about actually getting this out there. Yeah, I'm really excited about getting this one out there because I think it's going to be super useful. Yeah, it just kind of excites me really that I'll have something like, it's kind of like my stack, built with my vision. Yeah, I happily do some React stuff as well because honestly, I've got React content for days. It's just knowing what people want to see. That's normally what I find tricky, like knowing exactly where people want to start or what exactly it is that they want to know. Like, for me, I always think like holding your hand and doing like the here's how you create like I want to be like actually I want to create this awesome app, and then I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, so start with something practical, then learn as you go. Good night, sir. Yeah, let's do some brainstorming this weekend. Just ping me anytime on Discord or whatever, and yeah, we'll throw some ideas together. What will we? I do have a few little. Annoyingly, someone's pipped me to the top spot, but by stealing my getting horned. I've got this article. If you've not done hooks yet, I will migrate it eventually. But yeah, this is genuinely like it's a 5-minute read, but you'll know how to use hooks and how to build custom ones by the end of it. Pretty much, and then you get to build these cool watches. So, it's quite neat. Yeah, these are the sort of things I want to actually start putting on my site. That's why I need to build it, because I can bring you all this kind of stuff, like pretty much daily. It's just because I have nowhere to put it, and then I often end up writing for like publications, so it takes a bit longer to do those kind of articles, and that's kind of out on my hands. So that's why my writing's kind of scattered. I do the occasional thing on here, but yeah, that's fair. Right, where are we? Nearly 2:30, so I'm out. I am done for today. But it's been a pleasure and an honour to have you all here. I really appreciate it. Can't state that enough. It does mean a lot to see people coming in, saying hello, or even just coming in to check out what's happening. I hope you've learned something, or if not, I hope it's been just nice to chill out with something on in the background. So I always like to end on a particular animation or something. So what do people want to end on? I always like Kitty, but glad to have you on board. What I need is some cool, and there's another birthday cake animation. It's Porgy's birthday tomorrow. And I have just the pen for the occasion. Yeah, well, the next project after I build my site is to show you how to build Twitch animated overlays with code that react. So it's going to be pretty cool. And I can do that in React if you want. That'd be quite cool, actually. I can show you how to build something with React that isn't too crazy, but it's actually practical. Because I can show you how to do some crazy things with it, like bending it to your will, but sometimes they're a bit wild. So Vincent van Git, which I'm sure you've seen potentially. This is all React. Yeah, this whole thing's React, and the whole like shell script generation stuff is all built in React. And then it's all React and serverless. So I need to put an actual link in here to the GitHub though. Probably would help with some actual views. But yeah, we'll end on the happy birthday button, I think. So if you haven't seen this one before, I'll turn the music off, and we can fully appreciate it. Turn the lights down. We'll play this one. This is one I built a little while back. I will ping it in chat just in case you want to send it to your friends when it's their birthday. But yeah, click this. Actually, we'll go full screen to really appreciate it. Are you ready? There's no noise. We're going to have to refresh. You didn't see that. All right, here we go. There we go. We end on that one. Right. I will hopefully see you all on the next one. And I like to always... I will put the music on as I fade out, but... Cool. Peace. Stay awesome, people. And thanks again for tuning in.